This is your permission slip to speak your truth, own your story, and laugh through the chaos. Welcome to the Transparently Jordan podcast.
This is Radiant Voices Media.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another solo episode. I'm Jordan, your host, and today's episode is all about confidence, self-care, and how we can look ourselves when life feels a bit heavy. I've had a bunch of a mix of emotions the last week or two. There's a lot going on in my life, and for some reason, having all of these so-called good things and milestones happen has just made me feel a bit depressed and has made my life feel a bit heavy recently. So this episode is just getting me a bit unloaded and just chatting through a few things, I guess. I think we've all had those days or even weeks when our confidence feels kind of shot. I know my confidence kind of goes up and down. Some weeks I feel more confident, others I don't. I think I've been working a lot recently on confidence and just trying to feel a bit more confident in my skin, feeling more confident in my goals and just what I'm putting out in the world. And I think I'm consistently feeling more confident, but there are things that shoot my confidence down. And I think setbacks are kind of a thing. If you've gone through a setback, maybe you're comparing yourself to someone else. Maybe you're just in a slump. I don't know. Anything can happen. And it's easy to spiral into this self-criticism sometimes. So today I want to share some practical ways that I think helps me build confidence. Some simple self-care tips for when you're feeling a bit low and what I do when I feel a bit low and how to reconnect with yourself so you can feel stronger and more grounded. This episode is for anyone who needs a little boost or a reminder that you are capable and worthy and that you're enough, really. Now, I think it's important to remember that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill. It's interesting because when we are kids, we have all of the confidence, but so maybe it is something that we are born with, but over the years, life happens and we kind of fall out of the confidence kids that we once were. I think confidence is built through small actions. It's keeping promises to yourself and proving that you can handle things sometimes. So I think we all have confidence in different scenarios. Sometimes we have confidence in our own skin. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have confidence in our job. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we could have confidence in one area and have a lack of confidence in another area. I know I'm trying to be a lot more confident in my skin. I'm trying to be a lot more confident with myself. And there are days where I'm not confident. But I could walk into work, for example, and be an extremely confident physio. I could walk into a podcast studio and be extremely confident in that situation. But I could walk into a social gathering with people that I don't know and be not confident at all. We all have confidence in different situations, I think. I think some tips that I've learned over my years to build confidence in the things that I am confident in is to keep these small promises to ourselves. That to me means waking up when you said you'll wake up. It means follow through on a workout. It means going to a gathering if you have told somebody you are going to be coming. It means finishing a task that you've started. These little habits that I have created and that I have built have created this confidence in some of those skills that I now carry out. And I think keeping small promises and telling myself that, yes, I'm going to do something has created that confidence. Practice micro bravery as well. That's something that I have been practicing just with this podcast. I feel like I am very confident now speaking to other people, speaking to strangers. And that's a skill that I've learned from work as a physiotherapist. I need to be confident in a room, and I need to be confident with strangers that come and see me. But I think when you are in a situation like that where somebody has come for my expertise, for my knowledge, of course you are going to be confident because you know the answers or most of the answers. I think this podcast, for example, what it has allowed me to do is be a bit more confident when meeting everybody, when meeting a lot of people from different areas, because there are people that come onto this podcast. I mean, everybody that comes onto this podcast is more knowledgeable than I am in other topics, in nutrition, in relationships, in things that I do not have specific training or skills in. So this practice of, micro bravery is something that I've been, again, practicing. I am very uncomfortable sometimes. I have high anxiety sometimes before an episode when, somebody is texting me, oh, I'm here, and I have to walk out into the waiting room and greet them. And, it's nerve-wracking for me, but it's built this kind of confidence and this kind of, I'm not as anxious, I should say, anymore in situations out in real life now. Not that this isn't real life, but, with meeting strangers, because this podcast has allowed me to grow in that situation. So I think doing something slightly uncomfortable, whether it be daily, whether it be weekly, whether it be monthly, can make all of the difference. And it's something that I definitely recommend. Looking at your mistakes differently is super important. I make so many mistakes. I probably make more mistakes than a lot of people. I'm just that type of person. I make mistakes. I am the type that sometimes I don't think things through fully. I just go and do it. And a lot of the times that doesn't work out. But I think learning from those experiences is, of course, super important. I usually don't make the same mistakes over. And I think it's super annoying when people make the same mistakes over and over and over because they haven't learned from those mistakes. So I think learning from mistakes and making mistakes can create this confidence because you've gotten and you've put yourself out there. You've attempted a task that, you might not have attempted, basically. So make mistakes and try and reframe those mistakes and learn from them. I think it's also important, and this is something that I still struggle with a lot, is outsourcing self-worth. I think sometimes we need to stop measuring ourselves to other people's standards. Sometimes we need to figure out what our standards for ourselves are first and work into those standards. I do not want to be in a relationship where somebody is telling me, what their standards are or whatever. I think a lot of the times, and this is just my opinion, being a single person, I think sometimes you can tell people who have been in relationship for, maybe they're high school sweethearts or whatever. Maybe they've gone into relationship when they were in their young 20s in pivotal moments of their life, when you're finding yourself. Those people, I think, sometimes lean on other people a bit too much. Lean on their partner a bit too much because they don't have standards for themselves. I feel like I want to be the best version of myself before I go into a relationship or before I, am in a healthy friendship or something like that, because I don't want to put my insecurities on somebody else. I think it's important to lean on other people. It is, but we can't be reliant on other people. I think we need to be able to rely on ourselves. And having a partner is a bonus. Having a partner just puts us a bit higher. They hold us up sometimes when we are falling down. But yeah, I think it's an interesting topic, and I'm not going to go much more into it for this episode because I think we could spend an entire episode on self-worth. But I think don't measure yourself to other people's standards. Try and set your own standards and measure to those first. When you're in a low moment, self-care can feel like a chore, but that's actually when you need it the most. Looking after yourself doesn't mean bubble baths and face masks, though it can, but it's also about the basics. Self-care basics when you feel down are so important. And here are basics that I do. I do the bubble baths and face masks, yes, but I think self-care can be so much more. Sleep and rest is so important. I do not get enough rest. I admit that. But I do get rest from high anxiety and from stressful situations. So I don't get rest from physical stress. I train a lot. I have a goal that I'm working towards in November. So I am in a lot of physical stress. But I know, if I'm mentally exhausted, because sometimes that physical stress can affect me mentally. Sometimes stress from work, stress from all of these things that I'm trying to create and things that I'm starting. Sometimes that gets to me. And I think recognizing that is super important and making sure that you take that time to rest. Sometimes I might just need a day to go to the gym, come home, ride my bike, and do nothing else. I don't care if my apartment's a mess and it needs a good clean. I don't care if I'm ordering takeaway for lunch, dinner. I don't care. I need that rest. I need that time to just sit down on the sofa and do nothing. And recognizing that you are mentally exhausted, I think is so important. Move your body. Sometimes even going for a walk is so helpful. All right? I try every morning to go for a walk. That's because I think for me mentally, I know what it does. I usually pop in my headphones. I'll either put on a podcast or listen to music, and I'll just walk. I won't scroll through my phone. I won't do anything other than have music or a podcast in and walk for 15 minutes. That's all I do. Sometimes it's 10 minutes. And I think the clarity that I get, it sets my day up in a way that I think is so important. I feel the stress just diminish. Not that I'm super stressed early in the morning, but sometimes I wake up and after I've had my cup of coffee, I'm the type of person that, oh my God, I have this to do, that to do. I have like 1,000 things in my head going on. And just taking that walk before I need to start my day is so helpful. So I think going for a walk, if I feel that way when I am just starting my day, I think if you need to just go for a 10-minute walk during the day after a stressful situation, movement is key. Go to the gym, go for a swim, do what you'd like to do, and just move for even 10 minutes, I think can make such a difference. I think nourish yourself as well. Eat real foods, drink real drinks, and drink water. relying only on coffee and comfort food. I know I just said that some days I just sit on the sofa but I think that's different. I think most of the time, 90% of the time, I try to eat real food. I drink water. I try to drink real drinks, and I feel good. I think feeling good physically helps you feel good mentally as well. And sometimes that just gets you more confident as well. I like to feel like I have energy. I like to feel like I'm not sluggish. I don't like to feel like I'm super bloated. And eating real foods and foods that sit well with me and, not just relying on junk food is makes me feel happy and makes me feel good about myself. I think connection is key as well. Ask a friend for coffee. Go for a walk with somebody. This is something that I've been trying to do a bit more. I've been trying to just go for a coffee with somebody on a weekend or go for a walk. I'm not somebody who has a huge social group. I have always, had my select very good friends, and I think I'm always going to be that way. But I think just connection is key, whether it be FaceTiming with somebody, whether it be just going for a walk with somebody. Again, even if it's only half an hour, I think we are social beings and it makes such a difference, really. What I also think too, and I've recently discovered this, when my apartment is messy and cluttered and I have crap everywhere, my headspace feels cluttered and like I have 1,000 things going on as well. I don't know what the correlation is. I don't know what the psychology is behind that. And I know, again, recently I just said that sometimes I just like need to, but again, that's like a bit different. I think most cases my apartment is tidy. All right. It's clean. Sometimes it's untidy, I should say, rather. But when it is untidy, whether, I have laundry here, whether I have stuff there, those are the times that I think I've noticed that I'm a bit scatterbrained for whatever reason. So I don't really know, again, the psychology behind that. But I think something that I'm trying to do is just trying to keep my space organized and and clean, basically. I think emotional self-care is so important as well, and it helps with our confidence. I think journaling is super helpful. It organizes your thoughts, it helps you reflect, and it's just, I think, an all-around good activity to get into your daily routine. Practicing self-compassion. This sounds so simple, but speaking to yourself like you would a friend and trying to catch those times that you are down on yourself, I think makes such a difference. Be a confident bitch, like act like you were a confident bitch and you will be a confident bitch. That's my thought, at least. Avoid numbing habits. So don't go onto TikTok and scroll endlessly. I have that problem. Try not to go out for drinks every night when you're stressed because that's how you de-stress after work. I think those habits might give you quick relief, but in the long term, I think it still doesn't fill that hole that you have inside. That might sound a bit harsh, but I think it's the truth. So confidence isn't just built in the big moments. It's the little choices that we make daily. Self-care isn't selfish. It's a way of maintaining the foundation so that you can handle whatever comes your way. I think some everyday self-care practices that I practice is having a morning routine. I go to the gym. I train every morning. I go for my walks, and I just try to be in a calm space. I have boundaries. I say no to things that I don't want to do. I say no when things don't align with my goals. I have those boundaries in place and I'm not afraid to say no, and I don't apologize for doing so. Having some digital hygiene. So make sure that your feed has things that are uplifting you and, are not bringing you down or stressing you out. This whole footy fiasco that's been going on recently with Isaac Rankine, with the homophobic slurs and everything that's going on, that's on my feed right now. And I've been trying to, dismiss it. I've made a couple of posts about it, hence why I think it's on my feed. But I think it's an important topic to talk about, but at the same time, it gets me so frustrated. We are not going to talk about that during this episode, but I think that's a prime example of just, I don't need to be in that frustrated mindset every time I open up an app. So make sure that your feed is reflecting how you want to feel. This is something that I'm trying to start to do more often, but gratitude practice. Tell yourself that you like yourself. Tell yourself why you like yourself and what you like about yourself. I think the more positive talk that we practice, the better our overall mindset is going to be about ourselves. If we are constantly thinking bad thoughts about ourselves, which I have been guilty to do, I still sometimes do, then of course we are going to be depressed all the time. Of course, we are going to walk into situations and not have the confidence that we think we deserve to have. Practice being kind to yourself. Tell yourself why you like yourself. Practice that. It might sound stupid looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you're a good person, but I think if you can't do that, then you really have some work to do. And again, it's something that I need to practice and that I'm trying to be better at. I'm trying to catch myself when I'm thinking negative thoughts, and I've done that so throughout my entire life that it's a hard thing for me to try and work out of my life, but it's a work in progress. So I think that's enough jibber jabber for today. Remember, confidence isn't about having it all together. It's about showing up even when you feel unsure. And self-care doesn't have to be fancy. It's about giving yourself the same care you'd give someone you love. If today's episode gave you something to think about, or maybe reminded you to treat yourself a little kinder, I'd love to hear from you. Share this with your friend who might need it, or tag me on Instagram. The Transparently Jordan Pod is the show's Instagram. Go follow it. It is where we post all of our updated episodes, all of our content, quotes, guests. Everything is on the Instagram. And remember, you already are worthy. You're enough and capable of more than you think. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll catch up with you in the next episode.